Hi there, this is Michelle Richmond. Welcome back. So today we are talking about agents and editors, who they are, how you find them, and what your relationship is. So first let's talk about the agent, because the agent is your doorway to traditional publishing. Now, if you're doing independent publishing, if you're publishing a book on your own, you don't need an agent. However, if you want to publish a book with the big five, the major publishers in New York City, or with many of the smaller respected publishers, then you're going to need an agent on your side. And your agent is your business manager. If you're lucky, like me, your friend, your agent goes to bat for you. And while your publisher may change as the years change, if you get a really good agent and you have a good relationship, you're going to be together for a long time. So your agent, first of all, your agent takes you on as a client after you have submitted to her a novel or a story collection that she believes in and she thinks she can sell. Occasionally, an agent will come to you because she's seen you. She's seen your work in a literary magazine, for example, and she comes to you, contacts you through your website and says, well, do you have a novel? Do you have a story collection? More often, and that definitely happens, and but more often you will go out in search of a literary agent. There are a few different ways to do this. One way is conferences. I met my agent at a writer's conference at a time when I had tried to get an agent for years and I hadn't been able to get one, and I had ended up publishing 2 books without an agent. And at the time I had a novel and I was kind of looking for an agent, but not entirely. But I met these wonderful people at a writer's conference I attended, and I happened to have a novel. They read an excerpt of it, and the novel was far from ready to publish, but they read a piece of it and they said, let us know when you finish it. So of course, then I went home and finished it really quickly, or in a few months, and send them the finished book, and they said, yes, we would like to represent you. So I met mine through a conference. This happens a lot of times. Another way to find an agent is to submit queries to agents after you have finished a novel, or if you have a short story collection, you can submit queries to agents using the guidelines on their website to tell you whether they accept a query of only a letter, or if they accept a query of a letter plus 3 chapters, or a letter plus the first chapter. So you can query agents, and this is what I queried many agents and was turned down by all of them before I had the great good fortune to meet my agents at a summer writing conference. But so that is the traditional way, though, is to go and query agents until someone says, yes, I love this project, I would like to represent you. So when you begin with an agent, no legitimate agent is going to ask you for money when you sign on with them. That is not how it works. So if an agent says, yes, I'll sign you, that's going to be $500. Don't walk, run. That is not a legitimate way for a literary agent to do business, because the way they make their money is they sell your book, and then they get a percentage of your advances and your royalties. So the usual percentage of advances and royalties is 15%, which is great for you. An agent has to work really hard to make their money, because it can take years to sell a book. And then if the advance is big, that's great. But if it's small and they're only getting 15% of it, they've worked really hard to earn that commission. And then they also get that 15% commission on all the royalties. But they handle all of the business part of of selling your book, and they deal with the publisher on negotiating the contract, which is something I would never dream of wanting to try to do myself. So all publishers have boilerplate contracts that are not very friendly to the author and are very friendly to the publisher, of course, because they're a business. So your agent is going to negotiate that contract to get a better deal for you. And I'm not just talking about the advance, because they may not be able to get a very high advance for you, but they will negotiate the contract to take out the more egregious parts of it. And then they'll also, an agent is a wonderful go-between when you have a disagreement with your publisher on something. You can just kind of have your agent take the ball on that and have those discussions. Now, if you're having editorial differences with your publisher, you have to deal with your publisher on your own. But anything business-wise, your agent does that. So your agent, once you've signed on and your agent decides that your manuscript is ready to go out, will take your book to his or her contacts in the publishing world, acquisitions editors at various publishing houses. She's going to take it to the editors that she thinks are going to be most receptive to that book. And her experience as an agent, knowing editors in New York, is going to save you years of time, but it's something that most of us writers just don't have. You don't know those people. She knows them, and she knows who's in the market for a book like yours. So she's going to take it to publishers. She'll keep you apprised of what's happening. With my agent, I like to not know too much about the rejections and just know when something good happens. That works for us. So and then once she's found someone who wants to buy your book, then she'll negotiate the price and all those things. Your book may go to auction, which is great for you, and the agent manages that auction among the different publishers. So I can't imagine navigating this world in my career without my agent. And I think it would be an impossible task. Your agent will also, she works with foreign sub-agents around the world to sell your book into translation. That's how a book gets published in different languages, is your agent works with her, with the foreign agent she knows, to sell that book to foreign publishers. And of course the commission structure on that is different because there's another layer of agent, but still, like, are you gonna go to Paris yourself and find a French publisher? Probably not. So your agent really is the key partner in your writing career. So that's the agent. Now let's talk about the editor. So the acquisitions editor at the publishing house acquires manuscripts and acquires new authors. Generally, an acquisitions editor is going to acquire an author that he or she thinks they can have a relationship with for a while. They think, okay, this is a good book that I want to publish, and hopefully this writer is going to do some other books I want to publish as well. So once your editor acquires you and all the business of the sale has been handled by your agent, then you're going to work very closely with your editor preparing that book for publication. Usually when they buy a book, they're not ready to publish it right then. They usually want some work on it. And how much work depends, but my first novel sort of went to press without much work at all from the publisher, and that publisher later folded. But now I've been with Random House now for many years, and every book goes through an extremely, extremely rigorous editorial process before it goes to press. So, and there are struggles. My editor and I argue back and forth, and that's good. That works because your editor's job is to make your book better, so that you'll have a better book, but your editor's job is also to make a book that's more sellable, that more people are going to buy, hopefully. And so she's threading the needle. She's working with you to make a better book that you're still happy with, and that is still your book. She's also working on behalf of the publishing house to make sure that the book is something that will be a viable product for them to sell, because in the publishing world, a book is a product, and thank God it is, or people like me wouldn't make a living. I mean, your book, you know, is like if you can get a book out to people and they want to buy it, that's wonderful. You can be proud of your work, and then you can also, you know, pay your bills, which is what we all want to do. So your editor is working for the publishing house with you to help your book be as good as it can be. Your editor will do will start with global edits, saying, I don't believe the motivation of this character. They might even suggest that one character has to go. They might say, you know, this whole chapter doesn't work. That, in fact, always happens to me. They might say, you know, let's speed it up. Let's get rid of this chapter. And you'll go back and forth until you come to a version of your manuscript that you can both agree on. And then your editor is also your in-house cheerleader. Your editor takes your book into sales meetings and with the publisher, also with the marketing department, with the sales team, cheerleads your book and says, this is why this is a good book. This is why we should put some muscle behind it, because you always want the publisher to do that. And so having a good relationship with your editor is really important. Your editor wants your book to succeed too, because that editor's stamp is on every book that she puts out with a writer. So that's the difference between an agent and editor. That's the basic roles that they play. We'll talk more about those about the editorial process in future videos, but I hope this has given you an idea of the role both the agent and editor play in your writing career. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.